Did you know that this past weekend, 9 Middle Eastern countries got together for a cooperation and partnership conference, and it happened to fly by the mainstream media? Let's talk about this. Alright, so I want to take a quick minute. Came across some interesting information which I think puts more of the pieces of this puzzle together. And I want to share with you, the what, why, and how this is all relevant to everything we're experiencing possibly in the Afghanistan region. And so over the weekend, as I mentioned, there was a conference in Baghdad held by the Iraqis, of which 9 or total 8 other nations were there, as well as one European Union nation. And it was all built upon the cooperation and future partnerships. And so it's very interesting that as all this stuff is unfolding in Afghanistan, here we have the Middle Eastern nations, which I've talked about in the video I think last week, referring to the fact that all those nations are running into the arms of Russia. And if you look at how all this is tied together, it has a lot to do with the fact that the petrodollar contract system is unraveling right now. And I think this past conference of all those leaders getting together, a big part of what they were discussing in this cooperation and partnership, the foundation of it will be how will they move forward minus the petrodollar system. And of course they're using their allies in the Eastern Hemisphere, i.e. China and Russia, as the protectors and future security mechanisms that they're going to use in this next infrastructure that they're going to put together. And so other than just being told what's on the surface, we had a lot of prominent names that were put out there. The Jordanian king was there. The Qatari emir was there. We had the Egyptian president there. We had the Kuwaiti prime minister there. We had the UAE prime minister. We had the Dubai ruler. We had the Saudi foreign minister there, and also the Iranian foreign minister, as well as the Arab League Secretary General, and the Gulf Cooperation Council Security General was there as well. And then, to top it all off, the EU happened to be there as a guest speaker of some kind and was touting about how he was honored to be a part of this, tremendous, opportunity here. And so you put all that together, you got 9 Middle Eastern nations gathering, discussing things that of course we won't hear about, but it's very easy to understand where this is all heading. This is all about the intended monetary reset that's underway now, where everything is shifting towards the east, and you better believe somehow, some way, gold is going to be the anchor of this reestablishing of trust amongst nations. But one of the primary things I want to touch on is to what is all this about. This article here talks about that Iran and Saudi Arabia is expected to resume direct talks soon. So once again, this whole idea of Iran and Saudi Arabia partnering together, it contradicts and it goes against the entire Western media narrative that we've been fed, because we were always told that those two regions, even though they're bordering countries, they were always feuding. And of course, all the events that took place between the rockets that were apparently fired at the petroleum places from Iran, and all the turmoils that goes back centuries with that region there, we were always told in the Western Hemisphere that those nations are going to be at odds for a long time. But yet it looks like while all this other stuff is unfolding, while all eyes are diverted and our attention is being deliberately distracted on what we're being told to watch, they're having secret meetings behind the table. What are they talking about? The future that they're planning together away from the Federal Reserve note system. And so it looks like initially in April there was some secret talks between Iran and Saudi Arabia, and they were put on pause due to the fact that it looks like Iran is going through a presidential, time frame there. But yet, as of this past weekend, the talks are back on. And so with all these talks, other 7 nations joining in, it only leads me to suspect the fact that there is going to be some serious shifts taking place in the next several months, and we're going to hear about some shocking announcements, and you better believe gold is a part of it. And then I wouldn't be surprised that as a way of trying to include their citizens, they're going to come out with some type of CBDC blockchain type of thing just for domestic use for their own citizens. But why is all this important right now? It has to do with the fact that as the U.S. is pulling out of Afghanistan, the U.S. has equipped the Taliban. What we've been told is an extremist faction. Ultimately, they're going to work for the United States government, in my opinion. They left all that equipment there so that the U.S. can pull out and not have to focus on directly imposing themselves in the Middle Eastern region. Why? Because they're going to use the Taliban to do it for them. And so while we have all these nations here joining forces and using the Russian defensive systems against the USA we have a whole nother can of worms we got to focus on over here, I think, and it has a lot to do with this whole health situation that they're wanting to push forward. And they want to basically probably put all their eyes and ears on American issues while their puppets, i.e. the Taliban and ISIS and all the other factions or whatever, in the Afghanistan region, they're going to equip them, and then also they're going to fund them to be able to disrupt this. And so you better believe there's some type of confrontational war going to come on, and it will not be U.S. outright. It's going to be the Taliban group in some capacity causing some type of disruption or looking to further derail these plans of having a cooperation and partnership amongst the Middle East, because the deep states, whoever they are, their ultimate agenda is to divide and conquer. They never want people to unite. And the fact that the Middle East right now appears to be gathering and discussing how they can probably prepare for a better future minus the Western influence, you better believe the United States government will not be happy with that, and they're going to definitely try to disrupt that. But yet, where is all this heading? Simply put, within the next year, I believe we're going to hear some type of announcement. It's going to be led by Russia and China announcing some type of gold-backed, gold-peg entity outside of all the things they already have going on. But they're going to also include the Middle East. And so expect within the next couple months to a year, there's going to be a unified approach towards the announcement of another monetary structure. And it's going to be pegged upon gold, because they're going to basically come to the table and say, hey, show us how much gold you have, or you're not invited to this table. And hence you see all the rush to gold right now by all the central banks, as well as all those entities out there that we're hearing about in the news these days. But anyway, I just want to take a quick minute, share with you some things that will not be discussed on your mainstream news sources. I haven't heard it being discussed amongst any other commentators as of yet. But yet, the Baghdad Cooperation and Partnership Agreement with all those nations lets us know that there's some moves being made right now, and the U.S. is not a part of it. So what can we take from all this? Basically, do what they are doing. They are getting physical. I believe that they're not mad at this digital currency distraction stuff, because on the back end, they need something sound to build upon, and they're going to use metals. Anyway, I can rant on, I'm not, but I just want to bring this to your attention here, because the Cooperation and Partnership Agreement definitely is something to keep an eye on, because it only put them back in power over their own region, and that's something I don't think the West want to see. But anyway, what do you guys think? Leave a comment down below. Curious to hear what you guys think about this. If there's something worth paying attention to or not, you let me know.